Welcome everyone, I'm Dale and this is Cinema Historia. This week I have a request from my mother who just turned 87 last week. So, a lonely theater actress, a handsome American, and a little white lie. This week we're going back to 1958 for a British romantic comedy film called Indiscreet, starring Cary Grant and Ingrid Bergman. And this is directed by and produced by Stanley Donen. Our story begins on a rainy night in London. Maid Doris and chauffeur Carl, hearing a noise, rush over to their employer's apartment. Their employer, a famous London-based theater actress, Anna Coleman, played by Ingrid Bergman, is bored with her latest romantic infatuation and has returned home early from a trip to Mallorca. Alfred Munson and his wife Margaret arrive at Anna's apartment to make a change of attire. Unknown Anna has come back early. They are accompanied by Philip Adams, played by Cary Grant, a handsome American economist who was courted by Alfred to accept a NATO position in Paris. Rather than let Anna spend the evening alone, they urge her to attend the dinner lecture that Philip is to give on hard currency economics. Initially unenthusiastic about sitting through a financial lecture, Anna is attracted by Philip's good-natured humor about boring speeches and agrees to accompany them. At the end of the lavish evening, Anne invites Philip back to her apartment for a drink as he has an hour wait for his train back to Paris. There, Anna asks Philip to the ballet Saturday night, but Philip informs her that he is married and does not want to accept her invitation under false pretense. He adds that he is separated and unable to get a divorce. Hesitant, Anna at first lets him take his leave, but calls the front desk and repeats the invitation, which Philip gladly accepts. Saturday evening begins with dinner at the Players Club. However, arriving late at the Royal Opera House, they give their 2 tickets to a young couple eager to attend. Anna and Philip, deciding to walk home as the chauffeur follows, hit it off on their first date. Their romance blossoms as the next morning at breakfast, Philip tells Anna he accepted the position offer at NATO in Paris to be able to come to London frequently to be with her. Soon Anna is distressed as Philip receives a temporary 5-month transfer to New York for his work at NATO. So, does Alfred find out Philip is actually a bachelor with no intention of ever marrying? And if so, will Anna feel cheated, knowing the relationship will not lead to marriage, and decide to get even? Well, what do you think? This is a comedy, by the way. Released June 26, 1958. This was Bergman and Grant's second film together, following Alfred Hitchcock's Notorious, a spy film noir from 1946. This film received 7 nominations, including a 1959 BFTA Film Award for Best British Film, and 3 1959 Golden Globe nominations for Best Actress Comedy or Musical for Ingrid Bergman, Best Actor Comedy or Musical for Cary Grant, and Best Motion Picture Comedy. A 100% rating from the film critic Rotten Tomatoes states, "Lovely film, lovely stars. Bergman and Grant return in a good old classic," and "Magical. These incomparable stars are always worth watching." Yes, they are, and I did a couple of other Cary Grant films on my channel if you'd like to click the links below. The Awful Truth from 1937 and My Favorite Wife from 1940. And our trivia question this week: was the story of our film based on something from Broadway? Was the story of our film based on something from Broadway? So, a little more history and the answer to our trivia question coming up next. This week for history, I'm going to investigate further into behind the scenes of this great British romantic comedy. So, the first film that Stanley Donen produced and directed, he asked Cary Grant if he would do this film. Grant said only if Ingrid Bergman would be his co-star. Ingrid Bergman agreed to do the film with the script sight unseen in order to work with her friend Cary Grant again. It was the first time for Ingrid Bergman in an out-and-out comedy, and the first time she played a woman of fashion, wearing the latest of the personal creations by Christian Dior. Christian Ernest Dior was a French fashion designer and founder of one of the world's top fashion houses. Dior was nominated for the 1955 Academy Award for Best Costume Design for for the 1953 film Terminal Station, and nominated in 1967 for a BFTA for Best British Costume for the 1966 film Arabesque, also directed by Stanley Donen. It was also the first time that the Garrick Club was used as a location. The Garrick Club is a private members club in London, founded in 1831 as a club for actors and men of refinement to meet on equal terms. It is one of the oldest members clubs in the world. Its 1,500 members include many actors, writers, journalists, leading arts practitioners, at least 10 members of Parliament, and dozens of members of the House of Lords. Cary Grant was taught how to play snooker by Sidney Lee, at the time one of Britain's best players, and how to play the violin left-handed in order to act the part. I believe Cary Grant was left-handed, while Ingrid Bergman was taught how to dance the Highland Fling. One of the planes landing at the airport is a 1948 Lockheed Constellation L-749, owned by Air France. It flew with the airline until 1961, when it was sold to the French Air Force for use as a search and rescue aircraft. The car Anna's chauffeur Carl drives is a brand new 1958 Rolls-Royce Silver Wraith. The Rolls-Royce Silver Wraith was the first post-war Rolls-Royce. It was made from 1946 to 1958 with improvements such as chromium-plated cylinder bores for the inline six-cylinder engine, a more rigid chassis frame, a new independent front suspension, and a new synchromesh gearbox. Valued at $23,000 at the time, they are reported to sell for over $209,000 as of 2020. Other films you can find a Rolls-Royce Silver Wraith in are From Russia with Love in 1963, The Love Bug in 1968, and The Return of the Pink Panther in 1975. Reportedly, Cary Grant purchased the car at the end of filming. Lucky guy. And the answer to our trivia question this week: was the story of our film based on something from Broadway? Yes. The film was based on the play Kind Sir, written by American screenwriter, playwright, producer, and film director Norman Krasna. The original Broadway production of Kind Sir opened at the Alvin Theatre on November 4th, 1953, ran for 166 performances, and closed March 27th, 1954, with Charles Boyer and Mary Martin in the Bergman and Grant roles. Norman Krasna gave it to Stanley Donen for nothing, and they wrote the Indiscreet script together. A 40-year career in Hollywood, Krasna garnered 4 Academy Award screenwriting nominations, winning once for 1943's Princess O'Rourke, starring Olivia de Havilland. Great movie. I'd like to give a big thank you to my viewers and subscribers, and thanks, Ma, for your request.